We believe the metaverse will be the successor to the mobile internet. We'll be able to feel present, like we're right there with people, no matter how far apart we actually are.
Metaverse started buzzing shortly after COVID-19, and its popularity peaked in October 2021, all thanks to Facebook. Zuckerberg had announced they were rebranding to Meta and that they would pour $10 billion into creating their metaverse. But Meta was not alone. Other AR/VR companies like Decentraland made billions of dollars. And Mana, the cryptocurrency of Decentraland, reached a market capitalization of over $8.6 billion. Bill Gates said in December 2021 that a majority of the meetings will move from Zoom to the metaverse in the next 2 to 3 years. And later, Zuckerberg said that he expected 1 billion people would be on his metaverse. Forbes said its value would reach $1 trillion. Mckinsey said it would be $5 trillion, while Citi said it would be $13 trillion. It looked like Metaverse was going to be the next big thing after the internet. But then something weird happened and things took a surprising turn. As of last year, Decentraland had just 38 daily active users on its platform, while all major companies, including Microsoft, Disney, and Walmart, shut down their Metaverse divisions. Thousands of people lost their jobs. Meta is the only company that has been forced to stick with it, and it has lost nearly $47 billion on its Metaverse initiative so far. But even Meta's commitment is only on paper. It has now shifted its real focus to the new buzzword in the market, AI, with all its time, investments, and resources now being diverted there. So how did Metaverse change from a multi-trillion-dollar opportunity to a dead end? Were Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, Forbes, and all these other people lying to us? And is the Metaverse really dead? To answer that question, we need to understand what Metaverse really is and how it became so popular. In simple words, the Metaverse is an online virtual reality space where users can interact with each other in real time. So you have a digital avatar that can own things, go to places, have work meetings, and interact with other people's digital avatars in real time. Now, it is important to note here that Metaverse is not an app that is owned by just one company. Instead, it is a platform similar to how the internet is a platform. Nobody owns the internet. Similar to how the internet has countless websites like Google, Facebook, or Amazon, Metaverse is a collection of digital spaces created by companies like Meta and Decentraland. The concept of a metaverse has been around since the 1990s in science fiction novels, but the technology needed for it was achieved only recently with the advent of AR and VR in the 2010s. But what really catapulted the popularity of the metaverse was COVID. As the entire world was shut down and people moved to remote work and virtual interactions, the idea of a metaverse started becoming more and more elusive. People wanted the feeling of going out and interacting with others without actually going out. And that was exactly what Metaverse offered. So while VR games like Minecraft and Second Life had already given people a taste of virtual worlds much earlier, the idea of a virtual world for everyone and not just gamers became popular only after COVID. And it caught the attention of everyone, the general public, large tech companies, as well as investors. Mark Zuckerberg was one such person who was caught up in this speculation, and he did not want to miss out. If there was indeed going to be a next internet, he wanted to own it. So he made a gigantic bet and rebranded the entire company to Meta. And he poured billions of dollars into this idea. So COVID taking things online and Facebook rebranding to Meta were the two main reasons that orchestrated the arrival of the metaverse. And this was when the popularity of metaverse suddenly exploded. In 2021, internet searches for the term increased by 7,200%, and it was seeing endorsements from the like of Bill Gates and Satya Nadella. Similar to how every company is talking about AI right now, Metaverse was the space to be in. Mckinsey wrote a 77-page long report on why the Metaverse was going to be the next iteration of the internet. I read it cover to cover, and most of it has turned out to be false already by 2024. But for a brief moment, it looked like the bet on Metaverse just might work. And with all its investments into virtual reality and the metaverse, Zuckerberg and his Meta did come out as the top contender in the competition. Now, there were two parts of the metaverse ecosystem: the hardware, or how you accessed and used any apps on the metaverse, which was usually with a VR headset. and the software or the apps or virtual universes you used in the metaverse ecosystem, like Decentraland. When it came to hardware, Meta was already the leader. Their Oculus Quest headsets had captured 90% of the market by 2022. These were virtual reality headsets that you strapped onto your head, and suddenly you landed in 360-degree virtual experiences with interactive environments that you could control by your hands. And when it came to software, Meta announced in 2021 that they were going to create the successor to mobile internet. And this was where they were able to create one of the biggest hypes of all time. Zuckerberg said, and I quote, that in his metaverse, you will feel present no matter how far apart you actually are. You could do meetings, go shopping, and play with your friends as if you were right in the room together. And emphasis was given to the defining quality of the metaverse, which would be the feeling of presence, where everything looked and felt real. People saw this keynote and went absolutely crazy over it. On paper and even in the demonstrations, the metaverse looked awesome. And to people who were locked in their homes for almost 2 years now, it was even more appealing. The stage was set for the metaverse to arrive, and Meta was there to capture the entire market, which was going to be worth trillions of dollars. An article from Forbes said that it was plausible that by 2026, you would be going on a first date with someone whom you met on a metaverse VR dating platform by strapping on your Meta VR headset, wearing Armani and Ray-Ban NFTs that you purchased with cryptocurrency, and walk through a virtually enchanted forest followed by watching a Disney movie, all in the metaverse itself. Another article from the Wall Street Journal said that the metaverse would soon change the way we work forever. And these were not from some local publishers, but Forbes and the Wall Street Journal. This was the level of hype and belief in the metaverse by the end of 2021. So what went wrong? Well, the fall was also brought upon by the same company that brought the rise, which was Meta. If you made it this far, please subscribe to my channel. I promise my content will add value for you. Moving on. Meta announced their foray into the metaverse by launching the Horizon Worlds in December 2021, a platform that was supposed to be everything that Zuckerberg promised it to be. But when Horizon Worlds was launched, it looked like something else entirely. At best, it was a cartoonish game that did not even come close to the realistic experience that was promised. The characters looked robotic with no expressions, and more importantly, no legs. People were just flying around floating in space like ghosts in a barren land. And then there was no real life application or utility, as there was no integration with the actual world. You could not even have meaningful social interactions in the app, let alone play with your friends as if they were right there. And other apps were not doing too well either. For example, Decentraland, which was supposed to be a thriving city with millions of users and a booming virtual real estate market, had very few actual daily active users and felt like a ghost town. Rather than the future of the internet, the metaverse looked like a poorly designed video game. Meta's Horizon Worlds was particularly disappointing because even after pouring billions of dollars, Horizon was way worse than platforms that already existed, like VR chat. As a result, the user adoption of all these platforms actually started falling instead of rising. Meta reported that from 300,000 active users at the start of 2022, they were left with just 200,000 active users by the end of that very same year. And in 2023, a YouTuber reported that he found just about 900 daily active users on Meta's Horizon Worlds. Billions of dollars for 900 daily active users. Decentraland was doing even worse, with reports of less than 40 daily active users. It is practically dead. So a lack of user adoption was clearly what drove the metaverse into the ground. But why was there a lack of user adoption to begin with, even after Meta poured billions of dollars into building the platform? Well, the number one reason was the unrealistic expectations that everyone pinned on the metaverse, including Mark Zuckerberg himself. The promises that were made were far ahead of the current technological capabilities. While the ideal version of the metaverse does sound amazing, the hardware and software that we currently have simply aren't advanced enough to deliver on these grand promises. It is like trying to create a ChatGPT-like AI model with a PC from 2002. And that brought on the second problem, which was the extremely uncomfortable and clunky hardware that you needed to access the metaverse. As I said earlier, in order to be in the metaverse, you needed to wear a VR headset all the time. And strapping on a half kg box to your head all the time is simply not possible. While Meta did try to improve the VR headsets and did achieve some success, it was still not what you would want it to be. Ideally, you would want to be able to transition seamlessly between the metaverse and real life without having to wear a bulky device that gives you a headache after a few minutes. Probably something light and compact like glasses that you could wear all the time. But the most that Meta could do was add on some features to their headset and improve the design. It was nowhere close to being something you could wear all the time. And then, on top of it, it was very expensive, costing almost 50,000 rupees. Expecting hundreds of millions of people to buy such an expensive device just to access an online game is simply not realistic. And because it was expensive and looked crappy, there were no practical benefits to it. You see, the fundamental difference between the metaverse and AI is that you can use ChatGPT for a seemingly infinite number of applications. ChatGPT is something that actually makes your life easier. OpenAI didn't have to push people to use it because it automatically generated a pull. You need help in coding, writing, learning, ideation. You go to ChatGPT. You need help in finding anything online, you go to Google. You want to buy anything, you go to Amazon. The metaverse couldn't offer people a reason to come to the platform. The only problem that it promised to solve was offering realistic virtual meetings. And that was a problem that went away on its own as the world opened up after COVID. One day, the metaverse might actually become realistic and do what it promised. But that day is not today, and we don't know when that day would come. So now, the final question is the metaverse really dead? Well, if you talk about the application that it initially promised to deliver, you can consider the metaverse to be dead. But the augmented or virtual reality space is actually growing rapidly in the one area where it actually has a great impact, and that is gaming. Unlike other applications, VR has always been the perfect fit for gaming. The realistic experience that VR can provide definitely takes gaming to the next level, making gamers feel like they're actually inside the game. Recall how popular the Pokemon Go app had become. So gamers never complain. Despite all their metaverse failures, Meta's Oculus VR headset has actually been quite successful. Meta is a market leader with a 72% share when it comes to VR headsets, while the next best Sony is way behind at just 15%. And they have also received critical acclaim with praise from the gaming community. So while the grand vision of the metaverse might be on hold till technology catches up, AR VR is not going anywhere and is set to grow. As for the official stance, Meta has not abandoned the idea of the metaverse. It has publicly rebranded itself and poured over $50 billion. In comparison, it paid just $1 billion when it acquired Instagram, $2 billion for Oculus, and $19 billion for WhatsApp, which was one of the most expensive tech acquisitions in history. So Mark Zuckerberg can't just say sorry to the investors, turn around and admit it is dead publicly. But internally, it has been slowly winding down the Metaverse initiative and shifting the focus to the new shiny kid in town, which is AI. Meta launched its own AI model to compete with ChatGPT called Llama. And it is now planning to spend over $40 billion on that in 2024 alone. In 2021, it was NFTs. In 2022, it was Metaverse. And since 2023, it is generative AI. If you liked the research in this video, subscribe here and follow me on LinkedIn and Instagram. The link is in the description below. That's all I ask. Until I see you in the next video, goodbye.